Warning, playing FPL is highly addictive. It may cause stress, a loss of free time, a resentment towards friends or colleagues, and a dislike to football in general. Please, FPL responsibly.
Hey guys, and welcome back to the Fixture Watch, the series that uses the official FPL fixture difficulty ratings to determine which teams have a good or bad run of fixtures over the next 5 game weeks. Sitting on top of the FDR table from Game Week 5 is Burnley, who are one of only 2 teams to avoid any of last year's top 6 in the next 5 game weeks. The Clarets face Brighton, Norwich, Villa, Everton and Leicester in the next 5 games, with the first 3 looking particularly favourable. In the opening few weeks, Nick Pope has already impressed on his return to the first team, making the second most saves of any keeper in the league so far. So if you're using the wildcard and are currently on a tight budget when it comes to goalkeepers, then Nick Pope could be the ideal budget solution, given Burnley's kind run of fixtures now. Another player in excellent form for Burnley is forward Ashley Barnes, who's already bagged 4 goals in 4 games for the Clarets. He may not seem the most exciting FPL option, but these opening 4 games aren't just a flash in the pan, because his form in the second half of last season was equally superb. At just 6.7 million, he could provide excellent value up front, and he seems like a player you can leave in your side for the long term, with Burnley having excellent fixtures all the way to Game Week 14 now. The next team with good fixtures over the next 5 game weeks is Aston Villa, with 4 fixtures given a difficulty rating of 2 in their next 5. In particular, it's their home games that look very good on paper, with West Ham, Burnley and Brighton all visiting Villa Park shortly. They also face Norwich away in Game Week 8, a side who have yet to keep a clean sheet, so that could be another nice game from an attacking perspective. In the opening 4 games, centre-back Tyrone Mings has made the most blocks and the most clearances of any defender in the league so far, which shows Villa are conceding lots of chances, but Mings is playing out of his skin to keep those clean sheets. With some nice home fixtures on the horizon, if he can help his team to another clean sheet, then he should rack up some decent bonus points for his efforts. Meanwhile, at just 4.4 million now, fullback Frederic Gilbert could also be worth a punt. The French defender has now started the last 2 games and looked very attacking. If Aston Villa defenders feel a bit risky for your liking though, perhaps it's their attacking options that are worth looking at. In midfield, John McGinn has looked a very decent budget option, as he covers every blade of grass, is guaranteed to start every game week, and isn't shy to have a shot at goal. With this nice run of games coming up, Jack Grealish and Wesley are other players to potentially look at. The next team with good fixtures in the next 5 game weeks is Bournemouth, who also play 3 of their next 5 at home. The Cherries are one of only 5 teams yet to keep a clean sheet this season, which isn't all that much of a surprise. But what's really let us down so far is their attacking output, only registering 5 goals, which is pretty poor considering they opened the season against 2 promoted clubs. What has been a constant though is Callum Wilson's attacking returns, because although he hasn't exploded into form, he has produced either a goal or an assist in every single game so far. And at his price of now 7.8 million, an average of 5 points per game is actually a very decent return. It's because of these consistent but small returns that actually see him staying under the radar for now, and surprisingly has made him drop by 0.2 million despite returning in every game. So, at just 10% ownership and with some nice games on the way, is now a good time to back Wilson and bring him in now, before he starts delivering those bigger returns which we know he's very capable of doing. With a difficulty rating of 13 in the next 5 game weeks, the uninspiring Tottenham also find themselves towards the top of the FDR table. Spurs face Palace, Leicester, Southampton, Brighton and Watford in their next 5, undoubtedly good fixtures on paper. But having seen Spurs make such hard work of Newcastle at home recently, it's no surprise why managers aren't exactly flocking to buy their players. And with Palace at home next, who actually boast the league's best defensive record so far, this one may not be as easy as it seems. Under normal circumstances, this run of games looks like the ideal time to own someone like Harry Kane, but so far he's simply not passing the eye test, and that's a big worry having spent 11 million on him. Given these upcoming fixtures, there's definitely a case to give him more time, so perhaps patience is key here. But on the flip side, the 11 million freed up by selling him can go a long way in improving the rest of our squads, so that's tempting as well. If you do decide to sell him, just be prepared that he could come back to punish you during these nice games. A player that's looked far more impressive in my opinion though is Son Heung-min, who looks very fresh and hungry following his return from suspension. At an expensive 9.5 million, he is very difficult to fit into our squads, especially with the similarly priced Kevin De Bruyne already providing great value in this price range. However, in the last 2 game weeks, Son has had 18 penalty area touches, second only to Mohamed Salah. So, if he keeps getting into these positions, it's only a matter of time before he gets amongst the goals. And at just 2.5% ownership, having Son as such a huge differential is certainly a rare and unique opportunity to jump up the rankings. Another team with appealing fixtures in the next 5 game weeks is North London rivals Arsenal, with some of their upcoming games looking very promising from an attacking perspective. Game week 5 sees the Gunners visit Watford, a side on a barren spell of form to begin this season. Watford find themselves bottom of the league so far, with just 1 point taken in the opening 4 games, so this does look a very nice fixture for those that have kept faith with Aubameyang. Could this also be the game that we see Nicolas Pepe finally open his account for the club? Arsenal also host Aston Villa and Bournemouth at the Emirates, 2 more games that could be full of goals. So let's now look towards the bottom of the FDR table and see which teams have a much more difficult run of games. Also, if you find the Fixture Watch helpful, then be sure to support FPL TV by dropping a like on the video and most importantly getting subscribed to the channel. Sitting rock bottom of the FDR table is the team ironically sat at the bottom of the actual Premier League table, with Watford having neither form nor fixtures on their side. The Hornets have yet to get going this season, losing 3 and drawing 1 of the opening 4 games, and only managing 2 goals, making them the league's lowest scorers as things stand. They have, however, had the 5th most shots inside the box, behind only City, Liverpool, United and Chelsea. So this suggests goals could be on the way, but it's a lack of end product that has really cost them so far. Watford face Arsenal in game week 5, followed by away trips to Man City, Wolves and Spurs in 3 of the following 4 games, which looks a very difficult run on paper. There is one player that I'm keen to watch in the next few game weeks though, and that's their club record signing Ismaila Sarr. At a minuscule 0.2% ownership, he's an uber differential and has yet to start for Watford in the league. And having scored in the Cup recently, could he be the man to galvanise them after such a pitiful start to the season? Another side sat at the bottom of the FDR table is Newcastle, who have a very difficult task away to Liverpool in game week 5. Despite that shocking away performance against Norwich, where they shipped 3, they've actually done okay defensively in the other 3 games, conceding just 1 to Arsenal and keeping that clean sheet away to Spurs. So had Newcastle's run been a bit more favourable, perhaps we could have looked to them as potential budget options in defence. At just 5 million, Fabian Schär has already got a goal to his name this season, as well as scoring on international duty. And he's a player that does provide goal threat and can offer big FPL returns on his day, as we saw from him last season. However, with away trips to Liverpool and Leicester, followed directly by United and Chelsea, it doesn't look the best time to consider Newcastle players, whether it be from a defensive or attacking point of view. The next team with difficult looking fixtures in the next 5 game weeks is Leicester City, but they do have form on their side, currently sitting 3rd place in the league. The Foxes face United, Tottenham and Liverpool in 3 of the next 4 games. On current form, you could argue they'll be going into these games against United and Spurs as favourites, and if Leicester are to achieve their ambitions of a top 4 or top 6 finish, these are the types of games they'll have to win. After a superb 2 game weeks for Jamie Vardy owners, I'd have no worries on having him in my team for the next few weeks, and that is the luxury of owning Vardy, as his record against the Big Six speaks for itself, scoring a whopping 34 goals against them. This includes 7 goals against Liverpool, so even their game week 8 fixture away to Anfield may not be a big concern. This means it's a definite hold if you own the likes of Vardy, but the question for non-owners is whether he's worth bringing in now given this difficult run, and that's something I'm trying to work out myself. This run may also put off suitors of their budget defensive option Soyuncu, a player who's proved quite popular in the last few weeks. At just 4.5 million, he's a nice cheap way into this Leicester defence, but with a difficult run of games in the short term, clean sheets could be a rarity. Another team towards the bottom of the FDR table is Manchester United, who, according to FPL, are the only side in the league to have no games with a difficulty rating of 2 in the next 5 game weeks. With Leicester, West Ham and Arsenal in the next 3, 2 of which are at Old Trafford, these aren't the worst fixtures from an attacking perspective, so I can't argue with those that are buying Daniel James at the moment, who has looked a promising budget midfield option. With Martial currently an injury concern though, I'm not sure who else I'd turn to in this side for goals. Rashford and Pogba can still prove decent options, but they've yet to again look threatening since their opening day victory against Chelsea. What this tricky run of fixtures does do though is give me an excuse to potentially sell Wan-Bissaka and look for alternatives. Because with United shipping 2 at home to a goal-shy Palace, and then conceding against Wolves and Southampton recently, it's hard to see them getting many clean sheets in the next 5, perhaps 1 at best. And with Wan-Bissaka not known for his attacking threat, it's those clean sheets that we're relying on to get points from him. So that wraps up this episode of the Fixture Watch. Hopefully you found it useful, and if so, be sure to drop a like on the video and get subscribed to FPL TV. I'll catch you all very soon for my team selection and point predictor videos, so until then, FPL responsibly.